Hello, my beloved community. Welcome to Espresso Talk today, where we reflect, learn, and grow together. Pull up a chair, pour yourself something warm, maybe coffee with a dash of spice or tea that wraps you in comfort, and let's connect. I'm your host, Alma Robin, and I'm having my turmeric coffee today for this informative and powerful and interesting show. Today, we will discuss Kwanzaa. Why are we discussing Kwanzaa during the Christmas season? Trust me, this will be made known to you very soon. This is the episode you've been waiting for, even if you didn't know it. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're feeling this show, please share it with your fam, your crew, your friends, your circle, everyone in your community. Now, grab that espresso or tea. Tea drinkers are welcome here too. And close that door behind you. We're going to get deep and we're going to get real. And I hope that y'all are ready for this. Akwaba. Welcome, my dear brothers and sisters and my beloved gender-neutral and gender-nonconforming community. I am so glad that you're here today. And guess who else is here? The holiday season. For many of us, it's a time of joy, family, and giving. But for some of us, it's more complicated. Christmas can bring up lots of pressure, financial stress, family struggles, and let's be real, the weight of being Black in spaces where we don't always feel welcome. We're still followed in stores as if our presence alone is suspicious. We're still stopped and questioned by police and security for no reason, as if our existence demands explanation or even worse, justification. And we're surrounded by white Santas, white angels, and white nativity scenes that just don't reflect us or the beauty of our diversity. That's the reality of living Black in a world that often denies our humanity, especially during a season that's supposed to be about love and joy. And yet, despite it all, we find ways to celebrate. We find joy. We find comfort. We find love. And that's something no one can take from us. They have tried, but they cannot take it from us. For me, I take care of my mental health through journaling. Writing lets me put my thoughts and feelings on paper, giving them space to breathe instead of them being bottled up. Yet, even though they try, we have ways to to protect our mental health, to protect ourselves, to connect and to rebalance. And yeah, many of you know that I do that through journaling. But I also spend time in nature, where the stillness reminds me of my connection to something greater than the chaos around me. I connect with my sisters, my chosen family, who hold me up when the weight of the world sometimes tries to bring me down. I appreciate my culture, its rhythms, its story, its beauty, its strength. I listen to the music that makes me feel seen and understood. Yeah, sometimes I just hear something and I say, wow, they get me. I prepare meals that remind me of my ancestors' resilience. I dance, I laugh, and I cry when I need to, and all of that is okay. And yes, I still support equality, freedom of identity, and justice for all. Because I know that even in the face of oppression, my work matters. Our voices matter, and our lives matter. And I still believe Black people. I always will. I believe in our stories. I believe in our pain. I believe in our triumphs. I believe in our right to be heard and seen without question and without doubt. This season, as challenging as it can be, is also a time for reflection, for going within, for grounding ourselves in who we are and what we stand for. And for me, that means remembering. Yes, remembering. No matter how hard the world tries to diminish us, we are whole. We are enough. And we will keep finding joy, keep fighting for justice, and keep believing in ourselves and each other. So I'm going to return to that first question. Why am I talking about Kwanzaa today? When I'm talking about the season, maybe you're thinking the holiday season, the Christmas season, or whatever else you celebrate. Well, for me, I do celebrate Christmas, but I'm talking about Kwanzaa today. And a Kwanzaa officially begins on December 26th, but I want to start this conversation early to give us time to reflect and to learn and to prepare. Kwanzaa is not just a holiday. It's a mindset. It's a call to action and a celebration of who we are. By starting now, we have the opportunity to explore the principles, think about how they connect to our lives, and decide how we want to celebrate them in the new year, and to decide how we want to show up in the new year. And yes, I also do recognize that this time can feel overwhelming. Christmas or whatever you're celebrating, and I don't mean to put that down, I promise you that, can feel like enough, and that can feel overwhelming. And now I'm adding something else, adding another layer between the hustle of Christmas and just the stress of daily life. Kwanzaa actually can be a grounding force, a way to connect with our culture, our community, and our purpose. Talking about it now not only allows us to carry that spirit of reflection and empowerment into the holiday season, but also beyond, into the next year and even further than that. This year, as I decorate my home and prepare my home, I am thinking of Kwanzaa. It's a celebration that Dr. Ron Karenga started in 1966 during the Civil Rights Movement. Kwanzaa was created for us. Yes, it was created, and that's okay, because it was created for us to honor Black culture, build community, and to remind us of our greatness. No, it's not just a holiday. It's that, but it's more than that. It's a call to action and a way to reconnect with our roots while looking ahead for a better future. And today I want to take you through the 7 days of Kwanzaa. There'll be 7 principles, 7 days, and each one has a principle and each one holds a lesson for us, especially in a world that tries so hard to make us forget who we are. And we're going to get to that in just a minute, but first, we are going to take our first breather break. That gives us all a chance to breathe for a minute. When things get intense, I like to breathe. I hope you do too. I will see you in 1 minute, 60 seconds, and do whatever you need to do. I'll be right here when you come back. Aquaba back, my dear community. So glad you're sticking with me to hear these 7 principles of Kwanzaa. That's right. I said we're going to go through each one, go through what does it mean, and what can you do? What can you do to live this principle? These are just suggestions, But I hope that you take them to heart, but do what you need to do. And of course, we're going to bring in some history because Black history and Black people who have done great things in the past, should be remembered and can be remembered, and we have a lot to learn from them. Anyway, I'm going to stop going through this. Let's get to that first one. Day 1, Umoja. Umoja. In Swahili, that means unity. Now, what does unity mean in this principle? In this principle, it means to strive for and to maintain unity in the family, in the community, in the nation, and in the race. Unity is what kept Frederick Douglass going, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. Born into slavery, he taught himself to read by sneaking pages of books and scraps of paper, understanding that knowledge could set him free. His life wasn't just a testament to his own resilience, it was a call to unite for collective liberation. He once said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." Those words weren't just for his time, they're for ours too. And that's right. So unity was a striving principle for Frederick Douglass, and it can be for us too. When I will light the Umoja candle on the first day of Kwanzaa, I'll think about the concept of unity. I'll contemplate that concept. What does unity mean today? It's not just standing shoulder to shoulder. That's important. That's very important. But it's also holding each other up when the world tries to push us down. It's the unspoken bond we share when we lock eyes with another Black person in a room full of white faces. You know what I mean? The silent understanding that says, "I see you. I've got you." Unity is what drives movements, like the way we rallied during the protests for the murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many others whose names we refuse to forget. That's right. It's the collective power in our voices, our votes, our dreams. Lighting this candle, I know I'll feel the strength of our ancestors and the hope for our future. Umoja reminds us that we are never alone. We are always connected. That's unity. So what can you do? To practice, great, because, as I said, Kwanzaa is a call to action. Umoja encourages us to focus on what unites us rather than what divides us. This principle is a call to strengthen family bonds, strengthen community ties, and to strengthen, recognize, and honor the global connections across the African diaspora. Well, that was day 1, Umoja, unity. Let's move on to day 2, Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia, self-determination. And that means, what does it mean? Okay, I'm always going to ask that. What does that mean? It means to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. This lady is one of my favorites, Ida B. Wells. Now, she did not just wait to speak her truth. She seized it. She was a journalist, an activist, and a warrior armed with her words. In a time when lynching was used as a tool of terror, she exposed it for what it was: systemic violence against Black communities. Her courage to call out injustice, even when it put her own life at risk, was the epitome of Kujichagulia. And she said, the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth on them. And she spent her life doing exactly that. When I will light the second day of Kwanzaa, the Kujichagulia self-determination candle, I will feel the weight of her words, the strength in them. The flame will be a reminder that self-determination is about reclaiming our narratives. It's about refusing to let anyone else tell us who we are or what we're capable of as a community and as individuals, because they constantly try to tear us down one by one, too. In a world that loves to define us through stereotypes and assumptions, Kujichagulia is an act of defiance. It says, "This is my name. This is my story. This is who I am." It's the confidence to walk into spaces where we've been excluded and say, "I belong here." We should say that together. I belong here. For me, self-determination is a daily practice. It's in the way I create this podcast, sharing stories that uplift and empower. That's what I aim to do. It's in the way that I choose to live authentically, even when it's uncomfortable. As I will light that candle, I'll ask myself, and I'm going to ask you, how can you stand in your truth today? How can I stand in my truth today? How can I define myself for myself and you for yourself? So what else can you do? Here's the practice. This principle challenges us to reject limiting labels and assumptions. It reminds us to stand firm in our identities and to tell our stories in our own voices. That's Kujichagulia, self-determination. On to day 3, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. What does that mean? It means to build and maintain our community together and make our community's problems our problems and to solve them together. That's right, to make our community's problems our problems and to solve them together. Another one of my favorite ladies from history. Although history, I say as though that was so long ago. No, this woman lived during my lifetime. Rosa Parks. Now, Miss Parks did not just sit on that bus. She stood up for all of us. Her quiet defiance sparked a movement, but it didn't happen in isolation. No. Behind her were countless others, countless hands and countless hearts, organizers who strategized late into the night, marchers who wore down their shoes on the long roads by refusing to take the bus, and fundraisers who stretched their resources to sustain the fight. All of that was needed. All of that was necessary. Collective work and responsibility. Imagine the energy in those rooms. It's just really the hushed but fervent conversations, the sharp scent of ink on protesters' leaflets, that were freshly printed. The work was hard, and the risks were huge. They were enormous, but the sense of purpose was undeniable. Miss Parks' bravery was the match, but it was the collective work of a community that kept the fire burning. When I light the Ujima, the collective work and responsibility candle, I'm going to contemplate the weight of their sacrifice and the warmth of their unity. It feels so great to see Black people doing things together and being immersed in that, and that there is a warmth and a strength in that. It reminds me that healing, progress, and liberation are things that we build together. When we share our burdens and our joys, when we believe Black people and we stand with them, we live Ujima. We live the collective work and responsibility principle. So what can you do? Here's the practice. It's about recognizing that individual success is deeply connected to collective well-being. Individual success is deeply connected to collective well-being. Supporting each other's struggles and triumphs reinforces the idea that no one thrives alone. That's day 3, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Let's go on to day 4, and then we're going to take a short break. Day 4, Ujamaa, cooperative economics. What does that mean? It means to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. That's cooperative economics. Well, let's bring up our story from history. Madam C.J. Walker, and her story is legendary, but it's also deeply human. She was a real person. She didn't just sell hair care products. She built an empire that celebrated Black beauty and supported Black women. Just picture her at work, the rhythmic, tapping of her typewriter, when she sent out stuff, and the smell of hot combs. Remember that. And hair oils, the hum of determination filling the air. I mean, wow. I have to admit, the smell of hot combs, that's a little bit traumatic, but it's still there. But it's there in my DNA, and probably yours too. And her success wasn't just hers. It was her community's. She hired Black women, trained Black women, and ensured that they could all support their families. She donated to causes that uplifted her people, from education to civil rights. Now, lighting the Ujamaa, cooperative economics candle, I'm going to contemplate the power of keeping our dollars, our money, our power, our energy, and our work circulating in spaces that honor us. You know how much I love bookstores. And when I walk into a Black-owned bookstore or sip coffee at a Black-owned cafe, I feel that connection. I really, really do. I feel that safety in that connection, in that belonging. And it's not just about spending money. It's about investing in each other. Yes, economically, but also spiritually and, emotionally, mentally, giving that support, that validation. Ujamaa reminds us that when one of us rises, we all rise. So what can you do to practice? Ujamaa, cooperative economics, reminds us that where we spend our money matters. Where we spend our time, our energy, and our focus and our support matters. By prioritizing Black businesses and creating opportunities for financial growth within our communities, we honor this principle. And while all these other things matter, we also do need that financial and economic support. We need those dollars and that money circulating among us. So that is the day of Ujamaa, cooperative economics. And I think you know what time it is. It is time for another breather break. So take time here. I just call it breather break, but you do what you need to do. Think, stretch, do push-ups, grab some coffee or tea, whatever speaks to your soul. This is some great stuff, but we all need a short break to process this and process it together. I'll see you in 1 minute. We're back. We are back here together. And thanks for showing the courage to stay in the building and discuss these powerful principles. We have discussed the first 4 principles: unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, and cooperative economics. I chose to say all that in English this time, but you know which ones they are. Now we're going to go directly to Nia. Back to the Swahili, that's right, Nia, or purpose. Now, what does Nia mean? It means to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. That just gives me shivers. Now, let's look about what historical figure I chose for this one. Common name, a common but great name, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he once said, "The time is always right to do what is right." His words echo through generations as a reminder that purpose is the compass that guides us through chaos. Purpose is what led him to march, to speak, to dream, or to picture a future where justice flowed like a mighty river. That's right, pictured justice. When I light the Nia candle, the purpose candle, I'm going to contemplate his resilience, because I know he had it. The sound of his voice, yet firm and full of hope, have filled my ears. All of us, right? The scent of rain-dampened streets from the marches that filled my senses. His purpose was clear. It was to fight for justice and liberation, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. And that's when you need it most. Nia calls us to find our own purpose. Let me ask you, what drives you? What keeps you going when the world feels heavy? For me, it's building spaces like this one where we can reflect and grow and remember who we are. Nia reminds us that our purpose isn't just about ourselves. It's about creating a future where our children can thrive. So, what can you do? Well, the practice of Nia, purpose, challenges us to align our actions with our values, asking, how am I making a difference? How am I contributing to the collective good? Now, those questions may seem easy, but they're not, and they're definitely something to contemplate. How am I making a difference? How am I contributing to the collective good? And that ends our practice for Nia. Now, moving on to the next day, day 6. I told you this is some work here, but it's also joyful work. It is Kuumba, creativity. Now, what does that mean? Glad you asked. To always do as much as we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And there's one person that I think of for this, the legendary James Baldwin. James Baldwin turned the pain of racism into prose so powerful that it could crack open even the hardest hearts. His words are art. His art is truth, and his truth is liberation. He said, the artist's struggle for integrity must be considered as a metaphor for the struggle of all human beings to become human beings. The struggle of all human beings to become human beings. He never held back. When I light the Kuumba, the creativity candle, I will contemplate how creativity has always been our survival. It's in the rhythm of the drum beat that tells stories across oceans. It's in the vibrant strokes of paintings that celebrate our beauty and the lines in poetry that breathe life into our struggles and triumphs, and also in our songs and in our dance and in what we create, all of our innovations, and we are innovative. But Kuumba isn't just about art. It's also about building something new, even when the world tries to tear us down. It's about taking the chaos that we're handed and transforming it into something beautiful, something that inspires, heals, and moves us forward. So what can you do? Well, the practice of Kuumba reminds us that creativity is not just for artists, it's for everyone. And it's in the way that we solve problems, celebrate our culture, and how we build new possibilities for the future. That is day 6, Kuumba Creativity. Our final day, day 7, is Imani, faith. Can't have anything without faith. What does faith mean? It means to believe with all our hearts in our people, in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. That's right. Believe it with all of our hearts. Faith is what kept our ancestors moving forward, even when freedom seemed like an impossible dream. Faith is what led them across oceans, endure unimaginable pain, and still believe in a future where their children could be free. Because freedom is a right, and freedom is righteous. When I light the Imani candle on day 7, the faith candle on day 7, I'm going to contemplate their presence, the steady rhythm of their footsteps and the quiet strength of their prayers, and the warmth of their hope. Imani is about believing in ourselves, in our people, and in a world where we are no longer questioned, doubted, or erased. As you know, faith is not always easy. It can feel fragile, like a flame flickering in the wind, but even a small flame can light the way. And Imani, faith, reminds us to hold on to that light, to believe in us and in our stories and in our power. So what can you do? Well, the practice of Imani inspires us to trust ourselves, our people, and the vision of a better world. It calls for us to keep believing, even when the road ahead feels uncertain. That's right, and all of this for a better world. We spend a lot of time trying to uplift ourselves, and we do uplift ourselves, and guess who benefits? Everybody. Our community, our children, the next generations, but the whole world does. That's how Black people have uplifted this world. And we can keep doing that. So those were the 7 days of Kwanzaa, and I hope that this was helpful to you and interesting for you and empowering and inspiring too. But remember, you don't have to do it alone. We're all in this together. And as I finish this discussion, really I'm reminded that Kwanzaa is not just about reflection. It is about that, absolutely. But it's also about action. Each principle we've explored, unity, self-determination, I'm going to say all this in English again, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. All of those are a guide for the work ahead. We have a lot to do to protect our mental and physical health from the chaos of living Black in predominantly white spaces. We face the microaggressions and the racism and the endless need to explain and justify our existence. This is real, and it takes a toll, but it is not the whole story. We're not just surviving, we're fighting for liberation, for ourselves and for the generations to come. Nothing short of liberation will do. But this isn't just an individual battle. It's about the collective work. It's a collective work in progress, and each of us has to protect our own health. But we also have to reach out to check on our sister and our brother and our neighbor and our community and others that look like us. Unity reminds us that we can't do this alone. We need each other. Who in your life can you lean on? Who can lean on you? Self-determination tells us to define ourselves on our own terms. What labels do you need to let go of? And what truths will you claim? Collective work and responsibility pushes us to take action. What cause can you contribute to? Who can you support in your community? Cooperative economics calls on us to build and invest in Black-owned businesses, strengthening our economic foundation. Purpose gives us the focus we need to stay on course, even when the road gets tough. Creativity reminds us to imagine new possibilities and to turn struggles into art, joy, and resilience. And faith tells us to keep believing in ourselves, in our people, and in a future where liberation is real. Every one of these principles can help us with the work of liberation. They are not just words that we say or ideas, they're tools that we can use every single day. So as we move forward, let's carry these principles with us. Let them shape our actions, our choices, and our dreams. Let's use them to build a world where we're not just striving for chaos, surviving the chaos, but thriving in our truth and in our power. The work is hard, but it's worth it. Liberation is worth it. We are worth it. So before we close, I'd like to invite you to join me in the final thing of part of Kwanzaa. It's in saying Harambe. Now, Harambe is a Swahili word that means let's pull together. It's a reminder of our shared strength and unity. Let's say it 7 times, one for each principle, one for each day of Kwanzaa. And as we say it, let's think about what the principle means to you, how it lights your path and strengthens our bond. Or we could just get deep into the words. Here we go. Ready? Let's pull together. Harambe, 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 Harambe. That's right. Thank you so much for being here, for pulling together, and for being a part of this journey. Harambe, my beloved community. Since you stayed with me, I'm going to give you a present. That's right. Kwanzaa can also be about giving presents. A Kwanzaa-inspired story called The Forgotten Colony. It's going to be available to you on the first day of Kwanzaa, which, as you know, is December 26th. So that's my present to you, to say Asante Sana. Thank you for staying with me today and for leaning into Kwanzaa. And Asante Sana for being a part of the Espresso Talk Today show. I look forward to continuing these important conversations with you as we strive for liberation and joy for all oppressed people, not just for some, but for everyone. And Espresso Talk Today stands for the liberation and joy of Black and Brown people. If you want to keep discussing or just reading about these issues, then please subscribe to my weekly Black Empowerment newsletter, The No More Beat. We discuss lots of different issues here. There, you can get your dose of Black empowerment every single week. Never a dull moment, but lots of uplifting and empowering moments. You can subscribe at the Espresso Talk Today website, espressotalktoday.com, or on Instagram at my name, at Ama Robin L. That's AMA _ ROBIN _ the letter L. And you can find us too and get some empowerment too at our newly open Espresso Talk Today Black Liberation Lounge. This group is a safe space for us to hold discussions, share thoughts and ideas, feel joy, express sadness, or just breathe. And finally, please join us on Instagram to discuss these issues, to share our thoughts, and have an uplifting and safe space where you're valued and heard. Again, on Instagram at Ama Robin L. I'm Ama Robin for Espresso Talk Today. And remember, now more than ever, strength, soul, and reparations. Ashe, community.